my name is Kimberly Murillo, and I have a quick question for you guys. How many of you here in the audience are first generation kids or students of immigrant parents? Now, how many of you are bilingual? Now, wasn't it hard trying to grow up in this type of society, having to learn a new language and having to learn a whole new curriculum and lifestyle? As a first generation bilingual student myself, I can tell you that growing up in this monolingual education system was actually pretty challenging. For the amount of influx of immigrants that this nation has, you would expect there to be more diversity and more of a helping hand for us first generation immigrant students. Now, because of this, that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about what the easiest way for kids to learn about the most important values in their life. We're going to be teaching them about diversity, understanding, and even how to increase their cognitive abilities. We are going to be doing this through the use of bilingual education. Now, we will be looking into deep analysis throughout the speech. So, what do we think about kids? What do we know about them? We know that they are very happy, energetic, and just very typically malleable individuals. We know that they see something and they want to mimic it and do it themselves right afterwards. In knowing this, we should really start implementing more bilingual education practices into our education system as a whole. Because right now, our education system has a very popular program called ESL, which is English as a Second Language. And this program tends to isolate those bilingual children. By isolating these bilingual children, it actually sets an example for our kids that it's okay to isolate them, and it actually implies that they should be isolated, and that's how they're going to grow up with that mindset. But we want to teach them that everybody's the same through our bilingual education system. We want to teach them that they should be more inclined to accept diversity and to accept other people's cultural backgrounds and just different ways of growing up. As said in NPR.org, when you put in a room a bunch of recent immigrants and a bunch of native English-speaking peers, when they're all together, they come out more ethnically and more socioeconomically diverse and balanced. And by doing this and growing up in this type of environment, those native English-speaking peers actually grow up to be more comfortable with diverse backgrounds and diverse cultures. And for those who are non-native English-speaking peers, grow up feeling more belonging and more loved by this nation that they have stepped into. And so by immersing these kids into this type of education system, parents and faculty will notice a notable difference in the proficiency levels of their children. As said by educationstate.university.com, there was an 8-year study at the nation that was later validated by the National Academy of Sciences, where their scientific team wondered, is there an actual difference in knowing an actual language in academic performance, or is there not? So this all started with structured immersion, which is basically learning everything in just the English language. You don't learn anything in primary language. But then there's a thing called early exit transitional bilingual education, which is basically you have half an hour to an hour a day of your primary language, as well as English for the rest of the day, up until second grade, until you are fully immersed after that into the English language. And then we have late exit transitional bilingual education, which is basically having 40% primary language throughout the days up until 6th grade, and after that having fully immersed into English classes. So throughout the study, we saw that the English proficiency throughout the years actually did not change throughout the grade levels or throughout the sections of different languages, but we also see that there's a drastic change in academic proficiency throughout the years. We see that in the beginning there's not much of a difference between the first 2 grade levels that were observed, but in 6th grade, when the late exit kids stopped learning their primary language as well as English, when they were tested in English, they actually had a higher academic level than the other sections of the study. So the study concluded that by being in dual level classes, they actually increased their cognitive ability. Also in the article, Bilingual Education for Young Children, Review of Effects and Consequences, the foundational skills to improve abilities of language and literacy competence comes with early schooling. By being bilingual, they will improve abilities, and by improving and by learning 2 languages in 2 different curriculums at the exact same time, those kids will actually be unlocking and using different parts of their brain that they otherwise would never have used. So, apart from learning different languages and by unlocking different parts of the brain, they also will be increasing parental support and involvement, and also by increasing student motivation. And then by doing this, we know that a lot of first generation students actually don't have parents who are proficient in their English language. And by knowing this, studying and learning at home can be very hard for these first generation students. because the kids will have no help at home. They will then lose interest, which will make them actually lower their grades at the end of the day because they just have no help or motivation at home to do anything. And by we learn at the advocate.org, we know that to be bilingual, you actually focus more intently on topics and you actually have less distractions. So you will be more motivated to learn a bunch of new things. And so by being bilingual in this system, you know that parents can actually help, which will make kids want to learn, which will also make them not lose their mother tongue. And also, by not losing their mother tongue, they will not lose their culture or their heritage of where they came from their mother country. As said by bilingual literacy developments and trends and critical issues. They also say that it is really easy to lose your primary language if you are fully immersed in the English language, and we don't want kids to lose that part of themselves. With all this being said, there are a lot of positive effects of bilingual education, which we covered, which was empathy, understanding, better attention, and cognitive abilities. Now, you might be scared of the rigor of learning a new language at the same time as learning a whole new curriculum, but think about this. What's better for your kid in the long run? It might be a really tough decision now, but they will thank you for it in the future. Thank you.